Changing directions in our Here's Something You Should Know About Metro Atlanta segment, we're going to talk a little bit about Delta Airlines and Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. I still just call it Hartsfield International because that's what it was for years and years, until the Jackson family, Maynard Jackson's family, had his name added when they built the international terminal, which I think is certainly a fine representation of a significant mayor in the history of Atlanta. But Delta Airlines history began in 1925 as Huff Daland Dusters, a crop dusting company. Did you hear that? Delta Airlines started as a crop dusting company and evolved into a major international airline. Initially, believe it or not, they were based in Macon, Georgia. Then they moved to Monroe, Louisiana. And in 1928, C.E. Woolman led the acquisition of the Huff Daland Dusters, renaming it Delta Air Service. Passenger service commenced in 1929, and the company officially adopted the name Delta Airlines in 1945. In the 1920s and 30s, again, crop dusting. 1940s and 50s, they introduced the Douglas DC-2 and 3 and expanded service and began offering international routes to the Caribbean and Caracas. 1955, Delta pioneered the hub and spoke system using Atlanta as the central connecting point, and that is so true. I think Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, I think it was the second busiest airport in the world last year, behind the one in Dubai. Don't quote me on that. But for years and years, we've had over 100 million passengers. 100 million passengers go through the Atlanta International Airport. In the 1970s, Delta's fleet became all jet, and it began transatlantic service with nonstop flights between Atlanta and London. In the 80s and 90s, they became the first U.S. airline to fly the McDonnell Douglas MD-11 jet. In the 2000s, Delta filed for bankruptcy in 2005, but emerged in 2007, and then acquired Northwest Airlines in 2008. That's how we got our Detroit hub and our Minneapolis hub. In the 2010s, Delta Airline, the Northwest Airlines brand was retired, and Delta continued to expand its global operations. Delta's key innovations and accomplishments: hub and spoke system, first in the air, first to fly living vegetable plants, offer certificates for flights, introduced the portable x-ray machine for aircraft inspection. They have led the world in global expansion through mergers, acquisitions, and they have successfully navigated economic downturns, regulatory changes, and competitive pressures, emerging as the leading airline in the process. And I did notice that recently Delta is significantly more profitable than the other big airlines, United and American. I don't know if that's a one-time thing or not, but I was looking at some of that information in the last couple of weeks, and I was impressed. I forget how much money Delta made in the last quarter, but it was a big, big number.